Who's going to go first?
Are you going to go first?
Who goes first? You go first. I go
Don't
first.
do it. Don't do it.
Man, I wish.
I just did it.
I really wish we could go back in time and fix that intro.
Is that what you would do? Is that the thing? If you could go back in time and do anything you wanted, that's what you would do.
Are you guys jumping into that part already?
I didn't want to.
Listen,
I just wanted
time
to
travel. Listen, time travel screws everything up. We can't do a respect the pick time travel episode because it messes everything up, right? We can't like go back and like change something that we did on respect the pick.
Well, I always go with what you would say. Time travel will never exist
Yeah, because we'd already know it.
because someone from the future would have come back and told us.
Right. If you so there's never going to be time travel.
Unless it's like Avengers time travel where you go to alternate dimensions.
I mean,
That's the boringest of all time travel because that gets rid of all of the affecting the past and the future, right? So like the only reason why there's time travel in Endgame is to let them get the stones.
right.
There's no like going into the past and messing things up, and that's kind of the fun of time travel. And the Avengers and Endgame is just jumping to another dimension,
Yeah.
so they can get the stones.
Pretty much.
That's true.
Pretty
but
much.
like still, I mean, Captain America gets to live out his life with Peggy.
Yeah, but he's just in another dimension.
We got two different characters from the past come to the future. I thought that was cool. Past Thanos and past Nebula. Past Nebula interacting with present Nebula was awesome.
And Gamora.
And Gamora. We got Gamora back through that.
But also for that movie, Cap coming back doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. Unless you say
You mean coming back as an old man?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
unless you go with the he went back in a time machine. In a separate time machine. to
Right.
his
Explain
universe.
to Phil why that doesn't make sense.
Because if you can't affect the future, he couldn't have just sat around and waited until that time. He couldn't,
I think it created a second Captain America.
Yeah,
what it did.
because the time
And the new one just sat back while the real Captain America went and had the Winter Soldier and World War II and all that. He did all those things.
the Cap that we saw that went back with Peggy, his everything. If he just sat around, then none of the stuff that Cap did would have worked.
Right, but again, they created a second Cap.
Right.
But the problem is he if they got married, then maybe he took her out of the picture too. And I know she accomplished some great things.
And how did Cap get to the end?
yeah,
of Endgame?
how did he get to be an old man sitting in the old universe?
He lived there. He went back in time, and then the original Cap came back, but the old school one is gone now
No.
because he never came back as a young man.
No, he screwed with the timeline, which creates a separate timeline where he wouldn't have existed.
Right. He went to a different timeline, so there's no way for him to come back at the end of Avengers
Unless he gets a seperate time
unless
machine.
he got into a time machine. So the time machines are really jumping dimensions; they're not really jumping time.
I mean, according to Endgame,
Yeah.
Right. Well, don't break your own rules. Cap would have had to get into the time machine and come back, but he just waited until he was old.
Right. Because he wanted to live with
He
Peggy.
lived his life out with Peggy. Then he got back into the time machine and came back.
but doesn't that mess with Agent Carter's shit? She got married to some other dude, and she had some other kids.
But it's a different dimension now.
a different timeline where none of that happened.
That's what's boring about timeline.
Okay, so then when Cap comes back, and this is your argument that it can't happen, if Cap were to in fact come back, then Agent Carter, that's a new timeline where she never had kids and never got married to that other dude.
Right.
So at the end of Endgame, we're just showing the timeline that was changed.
The original Cap jumped back to his original
Timeline. Right.
to his original
And that it's that second timeline where he was able to live with Peggy. None of the Agent Carter stuff happened. A lot of stuff was different.
Yeah, excuse me for wiping my.
My brain
I mean,
is
Austin Powers, right?
yeah.
What does he say?
Now, presumably, if I go back and I have to do this, and then, but how can I go back if the other about to? Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. And then the other dude says, "Don't worry about that thing and just enjoy yourself."
Right.
But I mean, it's
Because we know Marty in Back to the Future 2 shouldn't have even existed. right? The old Marty.
You've been there.
And
yeah.
don't give me the crap about how the time, because he was going to come back.
That's
If that was true, they wouldn't have had to do any of it.
That's not my argument, though. My argument is that it takes time for the timelines to change.
I mean, what he says. First of all, the fact that it takes time, it shouldn't.
Right.
And second, why does the oldest disappear first? Seems like the oldest kid would disappear, or the youngest kid would disappear first.
That is a case of
I think that's incorrect.
plot device.
I don't think that's true. I'm not going to get into why, but I don't think it's true. Also, I think it took time. Not that it was taking time for just because it takes a long time to happen. I think it's because the more and more George and what's her name, Lorraine, weren't together, the more clear it was that they weren't going to get together and have kids.
Okay.
So as time back then changed, right? And Lorraine didn't like George, and George didn't like Elaine, and they weren't together. Time was like, okay, they still could get together. Nope. Oh, they might. Nope. They might.
Okay.
Nope. And then eventually it was like, okay, they're not getting together.
You think time is like, well, maybe they'll get together.
I mean, that's the only way.
Maybe they'll get
I had
together.
to personify time in order for you to understand what my point was.
It's representation of
Right.
the probability of them getting back together
right,
or not.
Right. The probability of them being together was going down. So that's why they were slowly going away. And the older one goes away because his conception is sooner. So the further away they are, the less time they have to him because he's older. So that has to happen sooner. Marty was younger, so they still have a couple extra years to get back together. That's why Marty was last. Boom. If I could drop my mic, I would.
Well, we have that whole episode on Back to the Future, so go watch that if you have.
We have a short.
I mean, it's not a
discussion.
whole episode. But
Well, a whole
we're talking about time travel. How about, have you ever watched Doctor Who?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the best time travel stuff. They follow the rules.
They do.
What are the rules?
Well, because they can travel through time and space.
Right.
Kind of
Right.
makes it easier.
Which is what I always say about the DeLorean. How is it glued to the Earth when it goes back in time?
Yeah.
Did we talk about that in
I
that
don't know.
short?
No, we didn't.
Go ahead.
So I'll say it. I'll say it real quick.
What are the chances that everybody's going to watch every single one of our
It's
episodes?
a good point. So when the DeLorean goes back in time, it's in the exact same spot on the Earth that it was in the future, right?
Yep.
So if you're driving to New York City in 1844 and then you go to the future of 1945, you could run into the Empire State Building that wasn't built yet, right?
That's the argument.
Right.
That's the.
So my question is, how does the DeLorean stay glued to the Earth? Because in June, if this is the sun, in June the Earth's over here, but in December it's over here.
Right.
So if he goes back in time,
Well, not
there's
only,
no Earth and he's floating in the middle of space and he's dead.
right.
Yeah.
And not only that, but the universe, the galaxy itself is moving.
Right.
Constantly.
Right, the sun and all
So
that.
depending on what your time travel must have to be locked onto Earth somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I mean, is that what the flux capacitor does?
Maybe.
Like it locks you to Earth?
I mean, that's the same thing in Avengers too. The time traveling.
Right.
And
No, you're just going to a different dimension.
I don't get how some people think like time travel. Like if gravity is stronger, time goes faster. What?
That's Einstein's theory of relativity.
Yeah, it doesn't make any. It's not real.
Yes, it is real.
It's a theory.
No, they've put it into practice. People up in super fast planes
Okay,
experience time quicker than people on the ground.
but experiencing
They
it-
used clocks. They
Did they-
used clocks.
Did they get older faster?
No.
Then
But that's not how time travel works. Marty didn't get young. Marty didn't turn into a glimmer in his parents' eye when he went back in time.
So if it,
You think if Marty went back to his birthday, he'd be a sperm? No, he
but-
wouldn't.
Well, that's how it was in Endgame. They ran time through Paul Rudd.
yeah.
So he turned into a baby.
I mean, call him Scott.
Scott.
He was Scott in the movie.
Scott Lang.
No, he played Paul Rudd in that movie. Paul Rudd.
And Tony Stark even came back and said, "Let me guess, did he turn into a baby? He turned into a baby, didn't he? Because he knew that they would have screwed it up.
Dangerous.
He's that smart. Somebody should have warned you.
It's very
Oh, you did? Oh, did I?
It brings up so many plot holes when you do the time travel thing.
Yeah. And listen, I'm okay with suspending my belief, and all that kind of stuff, or disbelief, I should say, suspending my disbelief. But at least follow your own rules.
In the sake of enjoying the movie, right?
Yeah, at least follow your own rules. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
Follow your own rules.
Do you guys remember that movie like Project Almanac? I feel like
Project
Vaguely, I watched that once.
We watched it in the theater, and it was like they messed with time so much, and eventually they went back in time and stopped themselves from making the time machine, but they were recording it the whole time, and the recording was there.
See, that's a good way to do it. Because if you're recording it, then you see what changes in, like
would the recording disappear if the thing was gone?
Right, the recording should have disappeared, but it didn't. They went back in time and left the recording there. And then the new people found the recording, but the new recording shouldn't have existed because they never made the time machine.
Well, those kinds of paradoxes are all over time travel stuff. Like how could Harry Potter save himself if he wasn't there yet? But
right.
Go back and save himself.
Well, that's magic. That's magic. You easily could have been like, oh, the time god was like knew Harry was going to save himself. You know what I mean?
I guess.
There's a couple instances that I can think of off the top of my head. Like there's a South Park episode where he's frozen in the future, and they have a phone that can call the past. So he calls himself and tells him not to freeze himself so he doesn't get stuck in the future. Past Cartman doesn't believe him, so he calls Kyle, and while he's on the phone with Kyle, he causes Kyle to miss a ride to go someplace. So like everything changes in the background, but it doesn't affect Cartman at all. But because he made Kyle miss that ride, a gajillion and a half different things changed,
like
and he wouldn't remember it.
Yeah.
But he was still in the future, and all this other like the robot he was with is a cat instead of a dog, and he was like wearing different clothes and stuff like that.
I liked the first butterfly effect. Thought it was good.
I don't remember much about it. I do remember liking it. Is that the one with Ashton Kutcher? Okay. What was the one with Kevin Costner? I don't remember.
Is that time travel? That's the one when he finds something in the water and it's his wife or something?
This is something like that. I don't remember. Are you talking about Kevin Costner one?
Yeah.
Or Ashton Kutcher? I don't
Maybe the Ashton Kutcher one's the second one, but I don't remember. Ashton Kutcher kept coming back to life as a baby and stuff. And he like had his own thoughts and stuff.
The other one that is deals with a little bit of kind of time travel is the same thing where you can phone the past was Frequency. Do you remember that movie?
That was good. Frequency, yeah.
He can call, or he has a radio that can talk to
the past,
his father, but before he prevents him from getting in a incident where he dies in a fire.
Doesn't he stop his mom from smoking and dying of lung cancer or something? Spoiler alert, by the way.
The first thing he does is he saves his dad. And like they show all the new memories in his head. Like he remembers before it changed, and then he remembers when his dad did, come back.
Right.
And then it turns out his mom was murdered, right?
Oh, I thought she died of lung cancer.
No, he died of lung cancer.
Oh, later on.
So he has to tell him, quit smoking. But then I think like she missed work because her dad was home. So
I remember.
But anyway, something changed and she ended up getting murdered by some dude, so they had to fix that.
Yeah, that's a good movie, though.
It was
Spoiler
good.
alert. You should watch it, though. Frequency. It's good. So Dennis Quaid and I want to say Jim Cavill. I don't think he got much after that.
He played Jesus.
Okay.
He was Jesus in Passion of the Christ.
Oh, wow.
Was his big movie. After Frequency, anyway.
So, yeah, time travel. Sometimes I wish I could time travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they say it in Frequency. His best friend is also Jim Carrey's friend in Truman Show. And he says, listen to me, because he gets a chance to talk to his younger self. He says, listen, remember this word, Yahoo. Buy stock in Yahoo. Because Yahoo was huge at the time it was blowing up. So,
like the Biff Tannen type of situation.
Right. Go back and make yourself rich.
Hold on. Can we talk about how Zelda does time travel? Like in Ocarina of Time?
I a lot of times I don't pay enough attention to the story.
But like in Ocarina of Time, he doesn't he time travels, but his age changes with him.
Okay, that's kind of weird.
Like what? Like how does that work? Like he doesn't when he goes back in time, he like reverse ages into a child.
Oh,
That's right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
That like what?
yeah, that's kind of hard. Almost like your soul's moving back to a younger version of yourself.
Yeah.
Like he lose all the memories, but he doesn't. He doesn't lose anything.
Yeah.
You like go back in time and like play a song for the horse Epona, and then you go back forward in time. You play the same song. Yeah.
Sounds like a very childish game. To me. but yeah.
Step up off Zelda's son.
Let me start with you, Jaden. If you could go back in time, let's do our 11 things we would do. 11, because we always do 11. 11 things you would do. What's one thing you would do if you would go back in time?
That we would do.
I mean, we're gonna have to edit out some of our thinking about things that we would do. Just try to fire them off as quick as you can. So you're first. You haven't been thinking about it at all. We talked about
because I didn't think I was going to go first.
All right, you think I got one on the top of my head?
But I have to go last.
Okay, I don't know if this sounds greedy or conceited or what, but one thing I always wish is that I would have videotaped some of my high school baseball games. So
I mean,
maybe I would go back and record them.
Do you have a video recorder back then?
We had one.
It wasn't as easy to record a big old thing like this.
Right. We need an extension cord because the batteries. Remember those brick batteries? Those things weighed like 14 ton.
Right. He doesn't need to though. He can bring his phone.
Yeah, I can bring my phone with me. There you go.
It won't connect to the internet.
Just record my at bats. Just record my at bats.
Okay.
But like the first time I ever hit a home run, like a real home run, wasn't until high school.
Oh, okay.
It was at that crappy field up on the hill in Williamson.
Not
over the fence.
Not even a little league.
Well, little league I hit not over the fence. I never hit, but I hit some inside the Parkers.
Okay.
But I hit 2 in one game the first time I ever did it, and I remember Adam Drexler at third base like laughing, giving me a high five as I rounded third. He was coaching third. But I would love to see some of those old games when I was skinny.
Adam Drexler hitting a home run always makes me think of the story.
Oh, my God. It's so funny.
In softball, you can only hit, Jaden, you've never heard this. In softball, you can only hit 3 home runs. Then once you do, you're out. The team can
a team
Otherwise,
can only hit
it's just
3.
home run city.
Home run derby.
And Adam Drexler's never hit a home run. I mean, I'm not talking shit about that because neither have I.
Little league, high school, middle school.
I mean, I hit him in
never.
Little League, but okay. Then, this day, we hit 3 home runs. Don't this motherfucker hit another home run, but it's our 4th, so it doesn't count. So he finally hits a home run.
Dude was like 40 years old, 38, 39.
Finally hits a home run. No, he's out. It's not a home run. He's out. Batter's out. Batter's out. Home run. Batter's out. Went over the fence.
Terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
It doesn't count. Drex, it doesn't
Poor
count, man.
son
It
of a
doesn't
bitch.
count. Drex, it doesn't count, man. Jaden, you got one? What
yeah,
do
I
you
got
want?
one.
What?
I would bring back telephone technology to the past and claim inventorship of it.
Okay.
So I would bring back telephone technology and be like, yes, I invented the telephone. Worship me. So instead of Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, Jaden motherfucking Sherman invented the telephone.
Yeah, but how do you prove that?
I mean, I could
you
just
have
say that too.
So what are you gonna
without telling
do? So what are
time.
you gonna do? Wait for Alexander Graham Bell to invent it and then
No,
knock him off a cliff and then
I take the telephones from now into the past.
and
Who
say
are you
you
gonna
invented
call?
this.
Who
and
you gonna
say I
call?
invented them.
Yeah, but who are you going to call?
Who did
Like-
Alexander Graham Bell call?
Somebody on the other end.
I'd have to bring back multiple phones.
Oh, okay. You'd have to do that, but you'd have to have a
Okay,
cell
what
tower.
network are they connected
Yeah,
to?
you have to have
Okay,
a cell
fine.
tower.
Fine, I'll do the light bulb then. I'll
He
take
lost.
it from Thomas
He's
Edison.
already lost.
What are you gonna do, like Dennis and Dee in that episode where Frank falls out the window and forgets shit?
Yeah. I invented it.
You couldn't connect online either. You couldn't even Bluetooth.
No, I don't care.
Or you
Just
couldn't
the
even
telephone.
Wi-Fi.
Just a
You
regular
can't even
telephone.
prove to them that it's a phone. All you'd have is a camera.
No,
All
I wouldn't
you'd have
use-
is a camera.
I wouldn't use a smartphone
What would you use?
like a home phone.
Okay.
You were going to use a smartphone.
No, I
And then
wasn't
you just
going to use a
switched.
smartphone.
No,
I was not going to use a smartphone because it doesn't have access to the internet and a lot of stuff.
Out of all,
But here's-
all the things you could do.
Here's my question. Yeah, what do you benefit? I mean, say you could bring it back and it's
I go down in history books.
Okay.
There's way easier ways to go down in history books using time travel
How?
than try to scam people into thinking you used the phone. You did the phone.
Are we gonna stick to fun stuff?
I mean, this is the
Yeah,
most.
we should
I'm
stick to
not.
fun
I'm
stuff.
gonna do whatever I want, but this guy is ridiculous.
because
It's my turn.
okay.
I would want to go into the future and see what happens to humanity.
Okay.
You know,
How do you find out though? You're gonna have to just keep going and
yeah,
going. And
I mean,
going and going.
it doesn't say I can only go once. I just have to go and see if there's humans there, and have to keep on, humans there, humans not there, a little bit in between. Humans there, humans not there, a little bit until I could actually. I mean, once I get to the history, I guess there might be a few humans left, and they're talking about what happened. You know, I want to like. I want to see past where I live. Like, it frustrates me that I'm not going to get to see the turn of the century again.
Right.
Like it's not fair. It frustrates me that people are going to still watch the TV shows that I watch.
Right. The Yankees
what
are
I
going to exist for.
Yeah. The Yankees are going to win a World Series after I'm dead.
Yeah. That sucks.
I want to see all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I would do is I would go into the future and just see time after I'm gone.
Right. Like what if they announce a new Star Wars trilogy?
Right before
and
I die.
You see the first two, and then you die before the third one's done.
Yeah, that's
You have to call Mark Hamill again. He'll come show it for you.
time travel, man. That's that.
But here's the thing. Once it comes to time travel and things you would do, like the things that pop in my head are like when you see like security footage of those dudes who hijacked the planes on 9/11. I would want to go back and
So
like
that's
trip
one of your
those
things?
fuckers up.
Yeah.
Beat
Let
the
them know
shit
what's
out of
gonna
them
happen?
before.
How do you like?
But that's the thing is, do we want to keep it fun or do we want to go back through all
whatever,
this
do
shit?
whatever you want to do.
Because that's the one thing. It's a year anniversary right now. Tandy and I took a trip to New York City and we went through the 9/11 memorial, and it was one of the saddest 3 hours of my entire life.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's just 3 hours of just crying and upset, and because you see all this stuff, it's on TV, even though it really happened, it's still just on TV. But then when you're there and you're at the place where that stuff actually happened, it's like, oh my God, could you imagine what some of those people went through, where the best option was to jump out of a window from 95 stories up.
Right.
It's ugh. So I would love to just stop some of those motherfuckers and just kick them right in the goddamn balls until they fucking popped or something. Those stupid assholes, and yeah, just something like that. Because that's
Well, part of doing our time travel, doing this is we're not going to talk about politics, so we can be careful, based on not talking. That's not politics.
no.
That's a good thing.
Right.
Jaden, what about you? You got another one?
I kind of want to bring it back to fun stuff.
Okay.
Yes,
go for
please
it.
bring it back to fun.
I want to bring like a few people with me, have a team. We go around and collect prehistoric animals, bring them back, and start a zoo.
All right, okay, I can get
That's
on board with
fun.
that.
That's fun.
I mean, but again, you fall into Jurassic Park. I mean, what happens if you
No,
bring
but-
back some dudes that start eating everybody?
You got to take care of them right.
Okay.
Have you
Yeah.
ever seen the theory that in Jurassic Park they just didn't give the dinosaurs enough space? That they got anxious and wanted to get out.
Okay.
well, yeah.
Well, that and Newman shut the fucking electricity
That's
off.
not Newman, though, is it? Is it Newman?
It might
Hello,
That other guy who
Newman.
looks
It's
like
Newman.
Newman.
It's
Is the
Newman.
other guy who looks like Newman?
It's Newman.
Be. I don't know.
That's Newman. But they
are
Newman.
you know,
but
there's the
I
other
wouldn't-
guy that looks like Newman, right?
No, it's Newman. Go ahead.
We're gonna look that up.
But I wouldn't just do dinosaurs. I'd do like woolly mammoths and like saber-toothed tigers.
Okay. I'm pretty sure a saber-toothed tiger could rip some people's freaking heads off.
Yeah,
But-
but, so
but what-
could a lion.
But what do you
True.
do? How do you get him there? Well, I mean, what's your time machine method? That's the problem. You got to
Right. You can't fit all those fuckers in a DeLorean.
maybe in a TARDIS.
No. Yeah.
But
Well,
can you
The
get
TARDIS, you definitely
you got to
can,
get him
right?
through the front door though. Of the TARDIS.
We have to assume that the TARDIS is our thing.
yeah.
Let's make that assumption right now. Because
Right.
DeLorean, I don't want to go back in time and end up in space.
or
don't.
you don't want to have to use Mr. Fusion.
Right.
Right.
Can I alter it for a second?
Sure.
I also want to go way into the future and bring back species.
Okay, so
As
you want to
part of
time
the-
travel and get different species around.
Yes.
And
Alright.
start a zoo. Where'd you start a zoo? You come back to your current time.
Yeah.
Do you think like you would have like a specific? Let me tell you what I would do. This is one of my things. If I could travel in time, I would spend time researching which time period I want to live in.
It's a good idea. It's a
You know?
very good idea.
But like,
Like, or let me hear me out. Using time travel to make my life as best as I can, like go into the future and get like to get my medical treatments, and then come home and chill out, whatever. Going back in the past and get some baseball cards and
Right.
and stocks, and then come back and live, and then go back.
That would be crazy though. Like imagine like you go into the future and they're talking about like a legendary movie that hasn't come out yet, and you're like, no spoilers, no spoilers. Movie's like 60 years old, dude. It hasn't come out yet.
Well, that's like Back to the Future. What do you mean you've seen it? It's brand new,
Right? You've seen all the reruns.
Doc talks about Jules Verne.
Yep.
Yeah.
Being it just came out like last
when
month.
you were a little boy. But yeah, go into the future, get my vaccines, and get my get my cancer vaccines, and you know what I mean.
Cancer vaccines. Wouldn't that be nice?
Go in the past and get a bunch of Apple stocks and
get your telomeres.
That's another big one. Is it would be nice to go back and find a way to get rich off it.
Oh, it's easy. Just bets. That's all you need to do is bets.
Well,
or stocks. Bets or stocks.
Yeah, but buy stock, I would think, is the best way to do it, because bets, it seems like you'd have to make an awful lot.
Just need to make one. Just
a couple, because you don't have enough.
First, right? Then you bet like $100 on Buster Douglas, and you got a lot of money.
Yeah, bet $100 on Buster.
Then you go back and bet that money on Buster Douglas, and then you're good. And then you go back and bet that money on Buster Douglas. I mean,
no, but
you just keep making the same bet on Buster Douglas over and over and over again.
That changes how much money you'll make, because it changes the odds. If you go back and keep betting on the same person over and over and over.
Yeah, but they don't know it.
Right. If you keep going back, they don't know that Buster Douglas is going to beat Mike Tyson.
You'd have to go back before you made the bet. Like first you have to go back right before it happens. Then you have to go back before that. Then you have to go back before that, because he's right. Every time somebody puts a bet on Buster Douglas, the odds would go up that Buster Douglas is going to win. You wouldn't get as good a.
You could do the Giants against the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean,
the year that the Patriots were undefeated.
There's a lot.
I don't think anyone thought the Giants were going to win that one, right?
You could
again,
depending on how fast you can time travel, you could go into a casino and say, I'm going to bet it all on black, and then it's wrong. So you come back and say, I want to bet it all on red, and then you win.
Right, but if you go back twice, won't you be there putting the original bet down?
Yeah.
What if
tell yourself, you'll know what you're doing, right? You can be like, hey, switch that, right? You tell yourself, and then you switch it.
You'd have to be your own twin brother.
And then you cease to exist.
Well, I could do it. I could use the time. Okay. Well, now we just giving away all the things we would do.
No, we haven't.
Up to you. What else would you do? What do we have? This is your third thing, right?
Yeah. I think it would be fun to go back in time.
So you're on number 7.
I think it would be fun to go back in time and watch some of the bigger events that, when they happen. Like I would love to have been to a premiere of the original Star Wars.
I feel like you got to give us one. If you just say I kind of.
He just said Star Wars.
I just said Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
I would love Could you imagine? Because Star Wars has existed since I've been alive, so it would be cool to see what. What is the Star Wars movies everybody's talking?
See the first one,
right? Because it's such a huge cultural event that changed this country in so many different ways. That
record it on your phone.
What the hell's that thing you're pointing at the movie screen, dude?
just a brick. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that would be cool.
Jaden. He's thinking about it right now. You should have been thinking about this whole time. Edit.
Or you could find a way to go to
Don't listen to him. Keep thinking.
Yankee World Series. Find a way to get into that game. When Charlie Hayes hit caught the last out. Because that was our first one. Because they hadn't won one since 78 or 79.
Right.
And so that would be cool to.
96 you're talking about.
But again, that one's messing with your head. Do you want to just experience for the sake of experiencing it, even though it's going to happen? Or do you want to find a way to see it and you don't know it's coming? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think you can do that.
To relive it.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that.
Because that was pretty fun.
That's not as fun.
I want to go back into ancient times and watch them build some huge historical monuments, because a lot of the monuments that we have now are they've decayed and eroded. Like the pyramids used to have like plates all over them, and they used to be like perfect pyramids.
Right.
And I would want to see that. I would want to see the Colosseum. Before
So they weren't like staired pyramids,
right? They were
like straight,
flat.
like okay.
I would want to go see stuff like that.
Yeah, they still don't know how that was done, right? How those were built.
They have theories. They have lots of theories.
That's
just
crazy.
stack some rocks and then get up and stack them again and get up and stack them again.
But how do they get them up there? They didn't have any machinery, and they're huge fucking boulders. I've been dropping the F-bomb a lot in this one. I'm sorry.
Listen, how about this? I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah,
Sure.
it's your turn.
I feel like I'd want to see some historic things. The problem with seeing a bunch of historical things is most of them sucked, right? Like what do you want to go back and watch John F. Kennedy get his head blown in?
No, definitely don't want to see that one.
Like,
what about like
Lincoln getting killed? Or,
we took a trip to Philadelphia not too long ago, and we went to the Independence Hall. That could be cool.
you want to see the gang crack the Liberty Bell?
No, I want.
Yeah.
I want to see if that's what really happened to them. I want to prove them right or wrong. But no, I would like to see him like create the country that we live in now. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, you mean like go while they're like writing the Constitution or writing.
Although I hear it was hot and miserable that July 4th.
Someone better open up a window.
They also nobody bathed back then, so it stunk.
Sit
Well,
down,
that and they're
John.
we talked about this.
Yes.
We talked about this in underrated or underappreciated. The toilets. They didn't have sewage system, so they're just throwing piss and shit out the window.
Just install a toilet in your time machine.
So yeah, that would be fun to go back and just kind of be a fly on the wall during the revolution. I mean, you'd see a lot of bad shit though.
Yeah,
true.
You see a lot of death.
But you know how to avoid it. You know when and where to avoid. You know.
I mean, yeah, you got armor. I mean, I feel like I would just take like a machine gun back there and make it a lot easier for our guys. Right. Or take like 3 of them. Say, here, George, you got this. You can take care of them.
George,
now,
Ben, and Thomas.
I mean, I don't think Ben did any fighting, did he?
Fine. How about Alexander?
Like
George Alexander and Thomas?
I don't know who else fought. I know George did.
Like, and we know not to go to Hawaii in December of what was it, 1943, 44?
Yeah.
So you don't know.
What I'm saying to you is, I want to see historical things, but I'd be scared to see the bad of them. So you try to pick out like the best historic moments, right? Like you say, oh, I want to go see Martin Luther King's speech, but there'd be a lot of racists there. People that are racist,
protesting, being assholes. Yeah.
So I mean, it's really hard to pick one that would be perfect.
And plus, should we be messing with the past?
No, you're not messing.
We're
you're
not
just a fly on
we're
the
not,
wall.
I mean, no, we shouldn't.
But because I said I would stop the terrorists
Or
from
you
starting
said I would use my
9/11.
machine gun.
You said the machine gun.
No,
I didn't
yeah.
say it.
I said the machine
But because like think about it this way, as depressing it is as it is to realize you have to let someone die. If that person lives, so much other stuff can change. Yeah. Like Tony Stark says, bring everyone back. Yes, keep what I've gained. Have to.
Right.
So, like, say that someone died in 9/11, okay, and then that person was like engaged. Mm-hmm. So now that woman or man marries someone else and has kids, and
those kids are
so
gone.
if you changed it and let that kid live, then those kids are gone too.
Right.
You know
what movie is it when they say you start to mess with time, it starts to push back? That's in a movie somewhere where somebody says
it sounds familiar, but I can't.
Isn't that the James Franco 1974?
No, I think it's an Endgame, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is.
Time tends to push back.
It is. It's when Thanos first drops like the first bomb on him.
Who says? Oh, Bruce says it.
No, Tony says it.
Oh, he does.
It's not ringing the bell.
Time tends to push back, or something like that.
Endgame for me.
What about the Loki series, the time travel and the Loki? What do you guys think of that Loki show?
I don't remember anything about it at all. I barely remember Loki.
It was too convoluted for me.
Yeah, it was crazy. I would like to go back and watch it because I think we binged it, but I mean, I don't think we ever watched the final episode.
I think we got 2 more things that you guys would want to do in time travel because I don't have enough. We only have 11, so we each got 4. I only had 3.
So you got 1 and I got 1.
Maybe I would go back in time and stop myself from watching Cats. The movie was so terrible.
You could go a step further and have it been not made.
We watched it during the pandemic. And I think I posted on Facebook after watching it. I said, I think I would rather go back to pandemic day 1 than watch Cats again. It was so bad.
I mean, would you stop the pandemic from happening?
I mean, is it that easy though?
No.
I mean, the whole world was affected. If the whole world was affected, and they still knew it was coming, how do we?
Right. Could
You
one
know?
thing have stopped
I
it?
mean, I guess if it was created in a lab, like a lot of people say, then yes, it could be.
And first of all, people have to believe us if we're, you know what I
Right.
mean, or they have to allow us access. But if we only can time travel once, then maybe we can't do it. But if we can time travel indefinitely, we could do it.
Right. Yeah. It'd be much easier because you can research back to the string of events.
You can bring the vaccines to all the people in China and say, "Here, take this. Let's go.
Right.
It's over."
Right.
Give it to the Italy. Remember in Italy, all those people were dying in Italy.
Yeah, Italy was in rough shape for a while. I
And then
remember
New York
that.
City.
Yep.
Just give the vaccine to people who will take the vaccine, and then
I'm stepping back here, going back to a different time travel movie that is like completely ridiculous. The concept.
okay.
Terminator. So John Connor sends a buddy, right?
Well, that's one of the paradoxes that we were talking.
Right. He sends. Have you ever seen the original Terminator movie?
No, I've only seen 2.
John Connor's like this military leader who's going to save humanity from the machines.
Right.
Okay. So Terminator's found a way to send a machine back in time to kill John Connor's mother.
Right.
Okay. To end the war, you know. So now they don't have this great leader. So John Connor sends one of his soldiers back to protect Sarah Connor. Okay. This soldier bangs Sarah Connor,
And that's his dad.
and that creates John Connor.
I mean, that's a paradox in all.
How?
It's a paradox that's created in all time travel things. Like, how did Harry Potter save himself? He wasn't even saved until he
Again,
was saved.
right.
You know
Again,
what I mean?
I say once there's magic involved in the time travel, there's like some sort of time travel goddess or god or someone who's in charge of it.
Doctor, the Time Lords, right? They're in charge of it.
Did we come up with 11?
Well, no, I got one more.
Okay. Always cracking the knuckles for this one.
I really want to go back and like solve like historical crimes.
Like Jack the Ripper.
Oh, be able to go back and say who killed who and stuff like
Right.
that? Like find out who killed the Black Dahlia?
Yeah.
Okay,
I,
that could get on board with that one.
Like I could bring my time machine, like follow Amelia Earhart. Like
Yeah. Some of those big mysteries.
Yeah, I
see
would
what
wanna
happened
solve
to her
Right? Find out where she went. How would you follow her around though?
with the TARDIS.
yeah, with the TARDIS.
Oh yeah, okay.
I just trail her pretty far back,
She'd be like, what
and
is
then
this?
and then when she looks back and she's like, is that a police box following me? I'd yell, no, it's all good. Don't worry about it.
It's nothing. It's just the birds.
What are some of the other ones? What are the other big mysteries that we'll just Jimmy Hoffa?
Yeah, Jimmy.
We can find
Hoffa.
out what happened to him.
Yeah.
I could find out if Andy Kaufman actually died.
Andy Kaufman died.
That airplane that was just missing like a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Just went like 2017 or something.
They went the Malaysian one?
So
They went
time travel, yeah. What we learned from this episode was don't use it in your entertainment. Even though it seems like it could be fun, it just screws everything up.
Unless you follow
really
your
does.
own rules.
I mean, even in real life, like I said, even if you could do it in real life, preventing some major disasters could really change how things are in the future, or how things are right now. So
I mean,
it's kind of sad to think of it that way.
Just look at the alternative 1985. Right?
Yeah,
There
where
was-
Biff is rich and
Yep.
married to.
And this has happened to your mother.
Yeah, that could be. I would not want to wake up in a world where Biff.
All right. So like and subscribe.
and comment and click that freaking bell.
Comment, like,
What does
subscribe.
he mean by click the bell?
If you want notifications for when we've posted, you got to click a bell.
Yeah, if you click a bell on our page, people could know when we decide to just, hey, let's go live right now. That could be fun. And people would know it and they could tune in and watch.
All right. I feel like I'm going to sneeze and I need to stand up because my hip hurts. So
Respect the pig.
respect.